All right, you see we got a bunch more tubing down, and once again it's raining, so that's kind of why we ain't been filming it. I'll roll my window up here. We'll go ahead, hopefully this is just a quick shower and it passes through. I got a little bit more plastic to put down. I just ran and got some more plastic. Hopefully it stops raining here in the next 20 minutes or so, and we'll get this finished up. Alright, it finally quit raining out here. Sun's out, nice and humid. So we're going to finish this last little bit of tubing up. You can see where we left off. I got the black plastic covering that. That tubing is not UV rated, as I said earlier. So that's just to keep the sun off of it. We got this one set up to pour hopefully next weekend. And then hopefully every weekend we can just keep moving along here. So I'm gonna go ahead, we'll get this last loop down. This stapler is well worth the money. It's made by Malco. Let's see here, FBSN. I need a foam board staple nailer, is what that stands for. It drives these little plastic staples that hold the tubing down. If you're stapling the tubing, I highly recommend it, because pushing them in by hand, it really plays a toll on your thumbs, and it's really slow. This thing was like $250, unfortunately, and I probably won't have a use for it after this, but for the amount of time it saved, I think it's well worth it. I got all this from Menards, and the quote, they showed that they actually rented this thing. So I called down to the store, and they never even heard of it. They had them on the shelf to buy, but they didn't have anything in their rental thing like their quote said, so I ended up buying it. I got this one off Amazon. It was an open box. I said it was like $225 or $250, I think. More than I wanted to spend, but it's been well worth the money for the amount of staples we had to drive. So you can kind of see the pattern here. That's where our manifolds are going to be. I'm just kind of letting everything run long until we get all our 90s and stuff in place, and then I'll cut it to where we need to be. But so for now, that's kind of just letting everything run long and figure it out as we're going. So I've got this one and then 2 more loops to run yet. So you kind of see the pattern. We're going to go into here, we're going to loop back, we'll come down to here, and we'll go all the way down and all the way back. I said using the Loop CAD program where I had all this drawn out was a big saver, because it's got all our loops at about 270 to 278 feet. So they're all equally the same length. See a lot of guys, they just get a roll of tubing, and the 300 foot's your max. It's a 300 foot roll. They just roll out 300 foot. But I think that'd be kind of a little trial and error trying to figure it out to get your pattern to work out right. So this has worked out pretty good, and it's laid out, and it seemed to, everything's worked out well so far. So we'll see when we get to the end here. So we're gonna go ahead and start unrolling it. I'm by myself today. It's kind of nice having 2 people to do it, but my help's busy today, so I just roll out. Sorry for the shaky camera work. Let's see if we can find somewhere to put this thing. Okay, now we're on a straight run. As you can see, it's just a spring-loaded handle. You just push down and it drives that staple in. I'm running a little short on staples. I have been going every 2 foot, but I've only got about a pack and a half left. So I'm just going every other. So every 4 foot now, and I'll see where I end up when we're done. And I'll just drive the remainder in and then purchase any more that I'm gonna need. So I am putting more in it. You can kind of see it's not going too straight with the 4 foot, but just to get us through today. They didn't have them in stock locally. I have to order them. So I'm just putting it, I got a pretty high heel in my boot, so I'm just kind of running it in between there. And then going on the chalk line we snapped on the foam, lining it up and pushing it in. It's not very difficult. The white foam with they had the markings on it for the footage marks was a lot nicer. You didn't have to snap all these lines like on this pink board. But I think this pink board is a better product. You can tell it's a lot sturdier of foam than the white stuff. Plastic was wet. I gotta tape that seam yet. Waiting for things to dry out. So I just kind of laid it down just so we could keep going with the tubing. I kind of lost my line. That looks pretty close. Okay, and down at the end, you see we just loop it around and then we continue back. So I'll just set you down. I'll get this loop in and I'll get you on the return. Okay, got that return. We're gonna go down 31 feet. Then we're gonna come back to here. We're gonna make another turn and then all the way back to the manifold. Some of these it looks like you're gonna run out, but so far they've all worked out. This last loop's gonna be a little different because our building's 50 by 100 when they did the plans, but actually we deduct 14 inches off of the whole thing because of the wall, the outside dimension. The inside dimension's 14 inches less. So the final one, they're probably going to be a little closer, but I think for what we're doing, it's going to be okay. Kind of a pain doing it by yourself. Nice having another guy to stretch this tubing out for you. You ain't fighting it. You can just kind of walk along and staple. The other guy holds it on the line for you. But luckily we don't have too much more to do today. And then you see here, this is my 31 foot line, so I'm going to make another loop, go back, and then all the way back to the manifold. So you kind of get the gist of this. I'm not going to bore you with a whole bunch of that. I'll bring you back when we get it all down and give you a final overview of everything. All right, here it is. Got everything down. I kind of run short on room here, so the tubing got kind of close together. This is going to be a storage room. It's going to be well heated. I'm as close as these tubes are, but I can adjust these if I pull the staples. I really don't want to do that. So now we got everything in. It all worked out pretty close. I had one roll I thought I was going to run out of tubing. It went a little longer. It was supposed to be 270. I maybe had 15-20 feet left. It was looking a lot shorter than the other one, so I don't know what was up with that, but it worked out. So now I just got this mess here to deal with. I went and just measured the manifolds, so we're gonna go ahead and try to get this cleaned up a little bit and kind of get a game plan on how our manifolds are going to sit on the wall. So kind of get things figured out, and we'll bring you back when we know what's going on. Hey guys, sorry for such a crappy video. I'm shooting this on my iPad. I had some more video finishing up the tubing project, but apparently I either deleted it or lost it somehow. So that's kind of how we're going to have to finish the video off here. You got any questions, you can leave it in the comments. The whole thing was designed actually from that Sioux Chief was the manufacturer of the PEX, and the fittings that I bought, that was all through Menards. They had a form there in the aisle with all the PEX that you could send to them directly in Kansas City with your building dimensions and how it's going to be insulated and whatnot. And they design the system for you and the tubing layout. So I had went to them, I gave them the building drawings, and they designed that system for me and tubing layout. I ended up having to change the layout a little bit. It wasn't working out. The way I had my office and everything designed, I didn't have that on the drawing at the time. And where they brought the tubing in was about 15 feet off from where my manifolds were actually going to be. So that layout wouldn't have worked out for me because all the measurements were off. So I ended up downloading the program they use. I just used all their calculations because they do like the flow rates and everything. So I used all those numbers, and you can go to Uponor, which is a brand of PEX tubing. They have a program called LoopCAD 3D. I had downloaded that program, which is the same program that Sioux Chief used to send me the original drawing. So you can download that program on your computer, punch in all your building dimensions, draw up your building on there, and it'll give you the loop layout for the floor. That beats just using 300-foot coils and rolling them out to the end. This kind of balances each loop, and it gives you the dimensions and layout of the floor for your most efficient floor design. So that's what I ended up using. I had went off the drawing. It prints you a set of blueprints off with all the measurements, and it numbers each circuit for you. It tells you the length, the flow rate, and whatnot. So that's what I ended up using. I ended up having to flip the whole tubing system 90 degrees from the original design. That just worked out better for me, just the way everything had to lay out. So you got any questions, feel free to ask. I'm no expert on that program by any means, but I knew enough at least to download it and to get through it and print a design out. Other than that, stay tuned. We should have some new videos coming up of us pouring a concrete floor. I had a few sections done by the time this video comes out, and I didn't have time to basically shoot it. I think I only shot one pour, mainly because I was so busy dealing with pouring the concrete. I had a lot on the line, basically, money-wise, and just getting it all down. So I didn't have much time to shoot the video, but we did shoot one pour and kind of showed how we went about it. So stay tuned for that video. I appreciate you watching. Again, you got any questions, leave them down in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.